Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell midday market report, all that good stuff together. Friday, November 11th, 2022. Happy Veterans Day to all out there. Thank you for your service. I mean that wholeheartedly. This afternoon, myself and Ronnie will get you caught up into tonight's action, college football, some NBA, some NHL, a boatload of college basketball games. In between, Mr. Lucky, our weekly trip out west with him at Follow Fade, talking last week NFL, this week NFL, and we'll go over the circuit contest with him. And then we will wrap up, me and Riley, to get you closer to that window so you are not the pizza man. I just sent out a tweet. The NBA's, 10, 12 games in, whatever it is. Who would have thought this? On Friday, November 11th, the San Antonio Spurs would be 2-point favorites versus the Bucks. B, Golden State would be just 2.5-point favorites at home versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. And 3, the Sacramento Kings. I said it. The Sacramento Kings, 4.5-point favorites at the Lakers. Let that sit for a few minutes. Without further ado, let's bring him in from the Windy City himself, the one and only Mr. Riley Magnuson. Afternoon, sir.
Afternoon, my friend. Happy Friday afternoon. Been a few hours since I've seen you, so I missed you in that short time. I'm happy to be back. The NBA's got some. I've got plenty of thoughts on the NBA slate tonight. You mentioned those 3 games. I've got a few others that I think are not noteworthy like that, but at least maybe ones that are interestingly priced enough to at least not be the talk of the town, so maybe we can at least find some value in some of these games. But those games are interesting, man. I would not have imagined those ones will be there, or would have been there. And obviously, I know Giannis is out for the Bucks, and I think a couple other guys. But regardless, that's still a eye-opening line there. So I am ready to rock and roll. We've already got Boston College with the last 20-second three-point shot to take the lead there. So I'm ready to rock and roll. It seems like it's going to be a nice evening of sports action the rest of the way from my perspective over here.
We talked off air about the BC game. I thought it was more of a public trending dog with Detroit. Detroit had a 1-point lead at half. BC was -5, quickly went to 4.5 in the second half. I thought they would end up covering that number, and they did by a whisker. I think they ended up winning by 4, which means they won the second half, of course, by 5. So it's comical how good these guys are with those numbers. Correct. Giannis out, LeBron out. I know Golden State's got 4 wins this year.
Yep.
All at home. All at home. Now, if I pull up the notes, I will see DiVincenzo probable. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm to assume Curry's playing, Draymond's playing, and Clay's playing, right? And Poole and the rest of the cast of characters, right?
As far as I'm aware, I believe so, yeah. I think it's just given – I don't know. That one, I don't have any action on that one. I don't know. The 8-3 Cavs, a lot of people are giving respect to the Cavs. I don't know what that line indicates if you're asking me, honestly. I really don't. I mean, I don't think anyone's panicking about the 4-7 Warriors, and at home with a short line, you probably imagine – a lot of people flocking to the Warriors, but there's a lot of people that really like this Cavs team. So I don't know what to make of that one. If I'm being totally honest with you, I really don't know what to make of it.
I always give credit where credit is due. And before the season started, we had Ski Profit on at Wager Talk. and we were talking, futures teams to look out for, West and East. And we broke everything down, and he looked us straight in the eye and he says, "No one's talking about Cleveland. No one."
Hmm.
And he even said plus 300 to win the division, which is a
Yeah.
long shot. But if something ever happened to Giannis, then the division is theirs to win. Great, great story. I'm going to piggyback, and I'm going to throw this to you.
Hmm.
I've been ranting and raving on my timeline all year about the NFL and the thievery that's going on, whether your name is Darren Waller, whether your name is Michael Thomas. And there's a lot of these guys, Keenan Allen, and the list is
Sure.
endless. I think it all goes back to the NBA and Kawhi Leonard and the Spurs and load management. That's where it all started. And I was watching the Clippers last night. I think it was last night or the night before. And there's Kawhi in a t-shirt, pair of whatever pants, just sitting there like, I don't get it. Can you please tell me what the hell's going on?
That situation, I can't tell you what's going on. I mean, you almost, at least to this, I expected him to play 50, 60 games. I thought it was going to be more sporadic. And, at this point, he would have played, 2 games a week and maybe sat the third one every week. Because they're treating him with, they're just hoping that if they can keep him healthy and get him rolling by playoff time, then they're a very dangerous team. And I don't know if that's what the expectation should be, or if, like you're saying, you want to be upset because he's not playing. I don't know, because I don't know what the right move is, and I don't know how delicate he is. If he's that delicate, then I don't know that you can expect him to be that healthy for an entire playoff run. So I don't know what to mention or what to say on it. I was expecting him to at least have played some more games by this point, but it's clear that they're really pushing all their chips into as long as we can keep him healthy by playoff time and have him play healthy for 2 months in the playoffs, then we've got a chance. But I don't know. It's bizarre, man. I enjoy watching him when he's there, but you asked me a totally different question. I guess if I could have him on my Bulls for free, I would take him. But would I trade a legitimate package of assets for what he is and his eye injuries right now? I don't think I would. So. Like I said, if it was free and I could get, just add him on there. And again, if he's healthy for 2 months, awesome. If not, then, it's a lower risk. But obviously, that's a total hypothetical. I'm just trying to make the point of how valuable he is right now. But no, it's bizarre, man. And I don't know. The guys in the NFL are interesting cases of their own. But he's a case where if he's 100% healthy and you have that one situation, or not the only one season, but the situation where he goes to one season with the Raptors and is the Terminator for 3 months, then that's obviously what you're pushing your chips into. But I don't know how realistic that is at this point, if I'm being honest with you.
I just don't get it. It's like you're working for a company and you've done you're a star citizen. You're just the cat's meow. They give you a raise. They look you straight in the eye and say, "Riley, you are corporate us. We love you to death. But what we're going to start to do now is, since we gave you a little bump and raise, we want you to start overseeing some people. We want you to start doing more work, yada, yada, yada." And in today's society, the way we're built is we're trained to say, okay, I work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I put my 40 hours in, and that's it. I pay my bills. I have enough money to go out for dinner on Friday night, and I got $25 in my pocket for the rest of the week. That's the average person.
Mm-hmm.
When you ask them to do more, you basically are going to get that person to do less. So it's almost like you start skating. What can I do and what can I get away with? And these guys, these professional athletes that have been pampered their whole life, that are bazillionaires, now got it down to a science where they're playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing a game, whether it's basketball, football, and hockey, whatever the sport is, they're getting paid to be a professional athlete to entertain the rest of us.
Right.
They live in a world that none of us ever could even fathom.
Right.
Yet they don't even have to work 7 days. I don't get it anymore. I don't
get it either. And I mean, the Kawhi situation is bizarre. And I mean, Yeah, he's obviously an interesting case where you don't hear from him personally too much. So, yeah, I don't know what to answer. Yeah, it's a tough answer, and I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. I like Zach LaVine, but they're obviously treating him with kid gloves to some degree. They've had 4 back-to-backs. They've split 3 of them. He's played half the season. With injury management, they don't say load management, they say injury management, and they say, well, he's fine. We're just moving along slowly, and it's like, okay, if he's fine, then let's see it. Let's see him play all these games. But it's I don't know. It's the chicken or the egg, like you like to say in some cases, because then it's you have the wear and tear of the playoffs, this and that. We just can't go 100 games, and then you have the opposite case where they only play 60 games, and then they're rusty and they're slow, and it's like, all right, well, if they only played all these games. So this doesn't seem to be the clear answer for sure to kind of agree with you to the most part here. I think there is some benefit to it to some degree. Like, instead of playing 60 games with this full load management, I think that's a bad idea. But maybe 6-7 games or so, they get at least 70 games under their belt, these types of stars, so they are ready for the playoff run. Because 100 games or so, if you go through the entire season and you play every single game, that is grueling, obviously. But to do the full 180 and only play half the season and then expect to have all this playoff success, it obviously isn't working to that type of degree here, at least in most cases, I don't think.
Well, yeah, and I'll end with this. If this was such a problem, then the NBA and the rest of the sports need to look at the season and say, all right, well, 80 games is too much, so therefore we're going to cut it to 60. And and I know they're not going to do that because that's money. Yeah. But I feel bad for the family of 4 that the father has just pushed all his eggs into one basket to get their kids to that one game tonight in San Antonio to see the Bucks. And guess what? Giannis isn't there. Right. Or and it's just to them, it's like, hey, I'm still getting paid. I don't care. But it's not fair to the fan or the family.
That I 100% agree with. Like I said, I went to the Bulls game on Monday night. It was, I got gifted tickets, so it wasn't a big deal. But it was like, oh shit, are we going to see Zach LaVine play tonight? And obviously he ended up playing, but the night before he didn't play. So I'm 100% with you on that one. If it is that big of an issue, yeah, cut the season down then to 72 games or whatever it was. I'm with you on that one 100%.
All right, I'm going to give you the NBA board. What are you seeing? What are you liking?
Let's start with what's right behind you there. As far as the old Boston Celtics hosting the Denver Nuggets, are you with me in maybe thinking this might be a Nuggets night in Boston, or do you think that's because I don't know these Celtics lines when they're I like the statement lines with the Celtics. If this one was 5.5 or higher, I think I'd be all over the Celtics, and maybe I'm not giving enough public perception respect to the Nuggets because they're also 8-3. But I don't know if I was feeling confident in the Celtics, I would have at least liked to see 5.5 or higher here.
You're 100%. I get this call every Friday from a certain few of my clients, and they ask me specifically what's going on. And I say very simply this: on a Friday night, especially in Boston, you're spot on with the number. I think it might have been your Bulls in early. It was like a 6 or a 7, and they blew them out. And then someone called me the following Friday or the Friday after, and the Cavs came in. And I was like, listen, here's what happens. They either blow the team out or they lose. And what happened with the Cavs game is the Celtics had a big lead. The Cavs came storming back, and the Cavs won outright in overtime. Yep. So I think the number smells. I do. Celtics are playing great. Obviously, Denver's playing great. From my eyes, an under-over that opened at 233.5 that is now down to 30. I will tell anyone watching and listening very simply, I would shop around. I would take the over here, 230, and I would just throw the ball up and let them have some fun tonight.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if the Celtics, maybe you could expect the Celtics to win, but I do think it's at least going to be a close one here. I've got some action on the Nuggets. On the spread there, so that one was one. And as far as our Friday in the NBA, I do believe, at least where I'm seeing on one of the public books, the majority is on the Celtics there. So, and there's a few like that. That one's not as glaring as definitely not like an 80% public side or anything like that. Certainly not where I'm seeing it. So, but it still is. I'm seeing 69% of the handle on one of these public books here. So, whereas the over, like you're mentioning, 52% of the bets on the under, but 65% of the hand. So a lot of people with deeper pockets going to the over on that one, whereas the public's kind of got it 50-50 on the over-under there, which is 230.5. So I'm with you. I like the over on that one. I didn't look too much into that, but I do like that one there. Okay, sorry. I thought we.
No.
Next one up, I'm interested a little bit on both of these. This one is more of a kind of fade the public spot on both of the total and spread. Phoenix and Orlando. The 7.5 was another one that screamed to me with Orlando. A lot of these ones where they've been getting their butts kicked is double-digit spreads, especially one of the best teams in the league here in Phoenix. The over seems to be, or excuse me, let me double check here. Yeah, the over it was a big fat public side, 80% type stuff. So I'm interested in both the Magic and the under in this one, under 217. Magic plus the 7.5. They just knocked off. I had them the other night against the Dallas Mavericks. Just knocked them off, 94-87. So maybe you expect their defense to show up again. Maybe you expect. I don't know. This Phoenix team is another one where I'd like this one to be double digits, let alone 8-9. I'd like this one to be double digits with an 8-3 Suns team if I'm feeling confident in them, despite it being on the road. Should I be worried that maybe one of these is going to hit and the other one isn't, or are you liking what I'm saying with both of these here?
I kind of go back to that Dallas where again Orlando beats them, and we talked about them playing the Wizards. I think the Wizards got a good shot there. I just pulled up the info here. Chris Paul, questionable. He's another one that doesn't like to play often. Right. Cole Anthony out, and Paolo is questionable. So I here's what I would venture to guess, that the initial thoughts opened at 7, some 7.5s at Circa and South Point, 8 at Westgate. If Paolo was all of a sudden whispers that he was playing, I expect it to go down. I think the number's fair. For me, it's a Magic play or nothing. That's where I stand.
And, this one might be one where you might get a total surprise, like Devin Booker's taking the night off, just to continue that conversation in a non-conference game across the country. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And I'd almost those are the ones where I'd love to have the good number, because then it, most likely drops to, 5 or so. But then the no Chris Paul, no Devin Booker Suns take it to the Magic by 20 or something like that. So that would actually, I hope everyone's playing for the Suns, would give me a lot more confidence that this number's a little fishy there. But anyways, I'll move on from that one. I think I almost like the under a little bit better though, as far as 217 there. So I had a few that I was kind of interested in OKC. Thunder +5, kind of another one. A lot of people respecting the Raptors. Thunder have been scrappy, 4-7. They've lost 4 in a row, so they were 4-3. They lost to the Bucks without Giannis and whatnot. If you caught that one, was one I caught them 5.5, so I was fortunate to catch the number on that one, and then it dropped. They failed to cover as it was close to a pick'em or something like that. No Siakam for the Raptors. They've still been playing fine. Fred VanVleet has been playing really well those last 3 games here. But I like the Thunder in this one. They had, especially at home, they've had a lot of spirit here at home. Another one where I'd like it to be 6.5, 7 if I was having any confidence in the Raptors. So I'm taking the Thunder on this one here tonight too.
No, I love where your eyes are. It's Friday. We talk about Fade the Public Friday. We talk about the public and the DJs getting paid today, running home, or supposed to go home, and then I'm going to bring home some pizza to the wife, stop in at the local book, the barbershop, or casino, play a little early evening action, and then start to lose there. And next thing you know, they're playing these 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock tip-offs, and next thing you know, it's the West Coast game, and it's getting close to half, and the wife calls and says, "Hey, hon, where's my pizza?" And it's on the oven, and you know the deal. Come home, cold pizza, there's your pillow, there's your blanket, and the wife's in bed asleep. So I like, again, where your eyes are. Yeah. I like OKC. And in these dogs, guys, very simply, if you're going to take a swing with these dogs, it's one of 80 or 82 games. If you're talking hockey, you're talking NBA. Okay, if you feel confident enough in a dog, okay, if you're confident enough to take the spread, sprinkle a little something, a little pizza and beer money on the money line as well. Because here's the way I always say this.
Yeah.
If you're taking a dog, and I know it's a spread, if you feel comfortable enough for them to cover a spread, well, you got to feel some kind of confidence they have the opportunity to actually win the game outright as well.
100%, unless we're talking about maybe like a 15-point spread or something like that, and you're just taking them to keep it, close to a 10-point game or something like that. Even still, though, but I'm 100% with you. I had the Magic on the money line sprinkled the other night. The Thunder, especially, I'm with you there. Even the Magic as well. So I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm 100% with you on board as far as that conversation. Same thing with the Nuggets there. So the other ones, I have leans on some of these other ones, but I haven't. The ones that I just mentioned, I think, are my plays that I've got tonight. This next one, Knicks and Pistons, kind of lean to the Knicks here with this. This one kind of feels like some confident spread. Kind of as I was saying, as opposed to the other favorites where I'd like it to be up here. This Knicks -8 feels like it's kind of a statement for the Knicks, but I'm hesitant. This Knicks offense can show up and shoot 30% or something along those lines. So that's really what's keeping me away. I still like this Detroit team as far as young and scrappy. They obviously haven't played well. Their defense isn't playing well. So I don't know. Are you interested in what I'm saying, or is this? If you're disagreeing with me, I would not be upset whatsoever here.
Again, your eyes are spot on today. I think it's a number that is telling me, it's a Knicks number. And what's really jumping out at me, Riley, is I'm looking at 63% of the bets, 89% of the money, all on the under, yet it went from 224.5 to a 225, which to me is, again, I think you're going to get a higher scoring game that you would actually think. And I think the Knicks come to play on a Friday night in the Big Apple in the city in MSG with Spike Lee at center court. So I lean Knicks and I lean over the 225 here.
Okay. I like that. I didn't see it. What you said it was kind of 70-80% over there for the under there?
Yeah, 63% of the bets on the under, 89% of the money on the under, yet the line went from 224.5 to 225, which in our eyes is some reverse line movement on the over.
I like that. I can definitely. I love to see a shootout there. I enjoy whenever this Pistons team is playing well. They are fun to watch. So, or at least offensively fun to watch. So that one might be worth watching if we're talking about an over in that one. So I like that. You mentioned it already. Spurs -2 hosting the Giannis-less Bucks. Whatever. This one feels like to me where someone maybe they don't realize Giannis is out or something like that. They pull this one up and they. Giannis +2 or Bucks +2. There must be no Giannis, and then they check the injury report, and then they go all over the Spurs, and then the Bucks without any of their guys end up winning this one. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I don't know. I'm staying far away from it. I just have bad luck whenever it's injuries like that, and you're no Giannis. Let me go all over the Spurs, and then the Bucks did it the other night. They won a double overtime against the Thunder with no Giannis. Javon Carter put up I don't know how many points. He had a headline night. I don't know. So I don't know. Is this fishy? Maybe the Bucks still take care of business, or do you actually have some? If you had some confidence in the Spurs, I could be talked into it, but I'm staying away.
Especially NBA's that one sport. As soon as you see someone scratched and the line change, everyone runs to the window. Oh, no, Giannis, I'm in. Like the Lakers tonight. No, LeBron, I'm in on the Kings. Well, you see everyone run into the window, right? Do you ever see them running back to cash the tickets? No, you don't.
Rarely.
So no Holiday, no Giannis. I'm staying far away because the Spurs take care of business. Well, God bless them. You're supposed to. But I wouldn't be shocked to see the Bucks win here. So I'm staying far, far away.
Right, and I've talked positively about the Spurs, but I think they've lost 5 in a row. So their defense is a dumpster fire these last 5 games. So I'm staying away from it. I almost lean to the Bucks in this case. I am not touching it with a 10-foot pole, but I will at least go on record saying I think the Bucks can still take care of business. So 3 more games left. Minnesota and Memphis. I've been staying away from these Minnesota games. Feel with the way things are going, 5-7. Everyone loves the Grizzlies, including myself, as far as fun to watch. So it seems too good to be true for the Grizzlies, but I've had 2 or 3 spots like this where I'm interested in the Wolves, and I played them a couple times, and I had egg in my face, and I've stayed away the last 3. Kind of a statement for them, and they had it against they've had it against the Suns twice now. The first time I was in on it, it's very similar, +4 on the road against the Suns. I thought this was a statement. The Wolves are going to take care of business tonight. They lose by 9. 2 nights later against the Bucks with Giannis, they're a 2-point dog at home, and they lose by 13. And then was it 2 nights ago? Yeah, 2 nights ago again against the Suns. They're 2-point favorites at home, and they lose by 12. So these I guess this would be the one where if you've been riding them that long, then I think maybe you ride them again tonight. I've just jumped off ship 100%. This offense They don't have they're not this team that they have been expected to be. They haven't gotten themselves right. This offense has issues. It was 117 last night, and obviously their defense was a problem. But I've jumped off the ship. I'm far off of this Wolves game. It wouldn't surprise me what happens either which way. What are you thinking on this one?
I think you're spot on, but the line's gone from 6 to 4. The total went from 236 to 234.5. For me, it would be Minnesota and the over, and I'm going to stay far, far away.
Yeah. If I put a gun to my head and I had to, give me the Wolves, but no, I've jumped off ship 100% on this one. Anthony Edwards has been one of my favorite players to watch in the entire league, but the Rudy Gobert trade ain't working so far. Maybe it ends up working, but so far it hasn't been working for him. So 2 more left. You already talked about the Warriors minus 2.5. I'm kind of throwing my hands up on this one. Do you have a confident play? Maybe this is a statement for the Cavs, or I don't know. I'm throwing my hands up on this one.
Well, I mean, to me, you're supposed to play the Cavs or nothing, meaning the line's way too low. This used to be a 5, 6, 7-point favorite. Now, 55% of the bets, 85% of the money all coming in on Cleveland. The line hasn't moved at 2.5. The true value in this game is obviously Golden State. You're never going to get them at a 2.5. I mean, they're not playing the Bucks. They're not playing the Suns here. I'm going to stay far, far away. If you like the Golden State, they've been undefeated in the third quarter, so you can wait to halftime and just play Golden State minus the hook or -1 in the third quarter and have at it. Other than that, it's going to be a great game to watch, though.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I've enjoyed watching this Cavs team. They those couple games they've had with the Celtics have been great. They've been very good. They've been top 5 team without a doubt so far this year. So. And then the last one to close it out on the stinky Lakers plus 4.5. No LeBron. I don't know if we've gotten an update since we've been talking. Last I checked, I think Anthony Davis was questionable. I don't know if we've got any updates for that. 4.5 for the Lakers. I'm not touching these Lakers games with the 10-foot pole. I think the one game where I think it was Kiefer and I chatting about it, or maybe I was by myself and Kiefer was producing and I chatted with him about it. The Lakers, the one they won. I don't know if I had just a tiny sprinkle on Lakers or on the spread in that game or whatever it was, but I am far and away from touching this Lakers game with a 10-foot pole. You mentioned it again. It's another case where LeBron's out. The Lakers have been a dumpster fire. He's been, fairly good, obviously, and you're expecting the Kings to win, but nothing would surprise me whatsoever in these Lakers games. So I am so far away from taking any action in these games. Is this a gun to your head? You've got a thought? Because I don't even have that right now in this game here.
It opened at 2. It's 4.5. Anthony Davis still questionable. To me, Vegas is giving you the clear sign. The sign is the Kings. I mean, when are you going to get them 4.5 favorite at LA? Again, these lines mean 0 zip. I mean, and people are running to the window with their hard-earned money, and I feel bad. Listen, you can't play these games. Just stay away. I mean, you got so many other places to dabble. Just listen, they're a dumpster fire, okay? Mr. Lucky's getting ready to come on. You know the same thing. If you didn't invite me to your wedding, don't expect me there at the funeral. So if you haven't been fading the Lakers, don't jump in now.
Correct. 100% correct. I don't think it's going to get better, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be, continuing to lose these games on the spread or whatever it is. I'm 100% with you. This is you. Yeah. If you, I'll butcher your saying, but if you sent me $100, I'd send you 200 back or whatever, however the saying goes for your end. But I'm not touching this game with a 10-foot pole or any of these games in the future for the Lakers.
Understood. So without further ado, let's travel and tiptoe from Chicago to out west. It's week 10 in the NFL where they play for pay. I guess that's what they say. And let's put it this way. They signed a contract to get paid. We don't know if they will play. How's that? So without further ado, let's bring him in. Mr. Follow and Fade, Mr. Lucky himself.
Gentlemen, how you guys doing today?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hey, I want to let you both know that I am not on injured reserve. I'm not listed as probable. I'm ready to go. Week 10, Jeff Dawson. Can you believe this?
I mean, you got a handful of weeks left in the circa. Before you know it, we'll be talking NFL playoffs, bowl games. We'll be talking college hoops, conference play, conference championships, and then March Madness. You just blink and it's there, Lucky.
You guys excited about the Colts at Raiders Week 10? I mean, I've got a palpable buzz on it.
You now know what I've been talking about since August. Now, what happened, though, this week was simple. Either Josh went in there and said, hey, guys, I'll take the heat for all of this madness, okay? I'm going to take the heat. Now, with that said, I need a real quarterback, okay? So let's put Waller on the injured reserve, who's already missed 5 weeks. He pulled the hammy bending down because he dropped his paycheck. That's how we pulled the hammy, okay? And then while we're at it, we're going to keep Renfro off for another 4 weeks, okay? So we can go after C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, okay? Or if I lose today, you can fire me on Monday. That's the only scenario that's happening here. None.
If they lose to the Colts, is he done on Monday?
Well,
He should be, but he won't be, is my prediction.
it's kind of tough to bring someone in who you expect to turn your ship around. Okay, but is management saying we had the guy and we let him go? In other words, everyone wants the new shiny toy. Okay? It was a shiny toy 4 or 5 years ago when Josh was on a plane heading to Indy.
Right.
And then he came back. I don't think Josh without Tom with Mac was that offensive guru that we thought he was. They were managing it offensively. The defense was good. We had Bill. Now, Mr. Lucky, you're a star where you're at for a reason. And I'm just making this story up as we go here. In other words, you have a supporting team. Your numbers are great, okay? But you also have a team around you, okay? Now you take yourself out of that team and you go somewhere else where we expect those same numbers, but our team is better. We're better equipped for Mr. Lucky. And then we put you into our team and your numbers are not where they were. We got that person that we thought, we just haven't got those numbers or the results. And I told you, I told Riley, I told anyone that wanted to listen, he's leaving the 617 to go to the 702, guys. He's that same person. You're not going to get Tom Brady with Josh McDaniels. It wasn't going to happen.
My pops, Jeff, used to always say to me, there are a lot of people that are really good at being number 2, but they're not very good at being number 1. Now, all due respect to Josh McDaniel, he knows the game of football, but I just think he's just an offensive coordinator. That's my take. And there are other coaches that fall into that category over the last 5-10 years. I mean, look at Mike Vrabel. I mean, this guy only blows a game when I bet on him last year against Cincinnati. I mean, I put a hefty wager on the Bengals against the Bengals in that game. I told Whitey last week, I had a good week, excellent week, but I had a misfire on the Titans and the Chiefs. I mean, it was 9-0. I went to the grocery store. I paid my dues. I came back in the car, and it was 9-7. I'm like, holy moly. The Titans are 5-3. God bless them. Jeff, Riley, they have been out yardage in every game this year. But Vrabel finds a way. He finds a way to scheme. He finds a way to get his players to play. He's a coach. I gotta tip my cap to Mike Vrabel. I don't know about this week with Vrabel. I can't stand the Broncos. I mean, you talk about another coach that is probably halfway out the door. Nathaniel Hackett. Don't call me Buddy Hackett. It's a crazy turn of events. And you got Jeff Saturday. Bless you, Jeff. Great lineman. Very good ESPN analyst. I really liked him on ESPN. I'm going to apply probably tomorrow, try and get a gig at ESPN. I might lead me to to bigger and better things, Jeff and Riley. I mean, this is just insane. All due respect, but listen, if your Venmo be $100, I'll Venmo you 500. If you think I'm touching the Colts and the Raiders, I'll walk to Vegas, find Dave Sherapan, and tell him, "Hey, Dave, where do you want to go have dinner?" I mean, you're crazy to bet that game this week.
There's
And
a
by the
lot
way-
of
I was
there's a
gonna
lot
say-
of those with those similar.
Yeah,
You know,
and Jeff.
is-
By the way, Jeff and Riley, I wouldn't put it past the Colts to go into Vegas and give them a heck of a game. I mean, the Raiders, they couldn't play 4 quarters if you paid them money this year. God awful.
The
And
only
as
the
you
only
know, Jeff, I'm done with the Raiders in the circa.
But the only problem with the Raiders is the fact that they've got out to 13, 14, 17 nothing leads. And I don't think the Colts are equipped. I don't see Peyton Manning quarterbacking. I don't see I don't even know. Carson Wentz even. I'll go to Carson Wentz there.
I have never done
Matt
that.
Ryan. I mean, Ellinger can't lead them back from a 17 nothing lead deficit.
I've never done this in this podcast. We are in the 10th week. We're in the top 200. I'm going to ask Jeff Dawson right now because I have a meeting with the group in about 3 hours, and I will bet my Friday paycheck with the pizza outside the oven, they're both going to sit down and say, "Oh, Lewis, Mr. Lucky, God, the Raiders. There is no way the Raiders can lose this week. There is no way. There's no way the Colts can score 13 points. You give me the Raiders in 20, it's a done deal."
I'm with you guys. I'm not touching that one with a
Hey,
10-foot
Josh.
pole.
You got a game plan this week? Josh, what are you going to do in the second half if Mr. Adams has 193 yards of offense catching the ball? Okay, thanks, Josh. I'll talk to you later, Josh. I mean,
I don't know.
this
If you're
guy-
interested
this
in the
guy's-
Colts, don't you have to be interested in the under? You have to expect that defense to show up if you're interested in the Colts, right?
Absolutely. And I actually agree with Jeff. The Raiders are the play. Listen, if the Colts score 10 points, I might buy Dawson a lobster roll this weekend. I'll Venmo him $50 for a lobster roll. I mean, they can't score. By the way, this is an interesting. I've done my research this week, Jeff. Guess what the average score in the NFL is this year? Total points.
What do you mean totals?
What do you think? Yeah, what do you think the total average of NFL games is this year? Under 44. It's the lowest in several years. And part of that is, I think,
What'd you put up? Like 42 points?
yeah. And part of it, I think, is because teams, I was doing some research this week. I was trying to figure out if I want to get involved, Jeff,
Hold on,
in some unders.
one-
Because, you know, I don't play very many totals. I'm sure wish Circa was driven by totals, too. Because, boy, people are making a killing this year on the unders. If you, Riley and Jeff, if you blindly took an under in a division game this year, you're over 70%.
Yeah.
You're cashing over 70%. So with that in mind, when I look at the board this week, I'll be honest. I mean, I see a lot of unders, Jeff. I mean, Broncos and Titans. Broncos' offense is horrible. They can't score in the red zone. I don't think the Titans' offense is very good. They've got a really solid defense. Broncos are averaging 15 points a game. That line is at 2.5 for the contest. Broncos are 0-6 off a straight-up win their last 6. You know where Lucky's going there. It's Titans or pass for me. I mean, I think that team is 5-3. I don't see that team going 5-4. I think the line is telling me to take the Titans. I'm having a tough time this week, Jeff, finding 5 games. I mean, is it time? By the way, Riley, all due respect, I got lucky last week, but I had the Lions. We were actually, Jeff, we were actually, and I know, by the way, great pictures. Loved your photos. That was fantastic, Jeff.
Oh, yeah.
I could have shot myself for taking the Bears, going against the Bears last week. That was our circle loss. But I did a little diving into that game. You realize the Miami Dolphins did not punt, and they couldn't cover. I think it was 4.5 or 5. They didn't punt the entire game, and now you've got the Bears as in the role of favorites against the Lions. I mean, the Lions played terrible last week. I just played against the Packers, Riley. Remember we talked on the show. I just thought it would be a must-win game for the Packers, but they haven't showed me much. Time to buy low on the Packers, gentlemen.
I think it's the Packers side or nothing this week.
I mean,
That's my take.
that game smells, as Jeff Dawson would say. Aaron Rodgers, gentlemen, has started 121 times in Lambeau Field. Guess how many times he is a 5-point underdog?
1, maybe?
I'll
0? Yeah. I was
0.
going to say, I was giving you 1 in case there was 1. No. Right.
What's the line today, Jeff? Has that moved? In our contest, we're at 4.5. Is that dipped at all, Jeff? I think it opened at 3. Dallas 3, now 4.5. Am I right on that?
Yeah.
4.5.
Dallas off a bye week. Here's my stat. Here's my thought on this game. And I mentioned this to one of my buddies last night who liked the Panthers. What happened to the Panthers the week before? They got lit up.
Are you going with the every other theory? I mean, the Packers have lost what, 5 in a row?
The Packers have lost 5 in a row. They've never lost 6 with Rodgers. But what I tend to like, Jeff and Riley, when teams get embarrassed, I mean, they're still professionals. Can Dallas win by 5? Of course, Dallas can win by 5. I don't know. LaFleur, to me, and Rodgers aren't syncing. Something's up with that defense. They're injured. I mean, I was looking at their injury list this week. I mean, it's like an episode of ER. I mean, it's unreal. But Dawson is smiling because he knows the play there. And my two amigos are going to look at me tonight and say, "Are you crazy, Mr. Lucky?" Listen, Dawson and I were born at night, but not last night. That's a Packers number, Jeff. I know it, you know it, and probably every sharp knows it in Vegas.
Well, there's a handful of those games. As you said, you have a hard time. The problem with the Circa contest, very simply, is this. You and I throw out the Thursday games. You probably don't like the Monday night games. So your board's already shortened, and you get now teams on a bye. All right? So now you have to decide, are you playing the game in Germany? Which, again, it was supposed to be under 3. I think your Circa card has 3 on that card.
Yeah.
And Seattle's been very good to you. So that's number 1. That the stench of the week, if you want to call the Green Bay game is the stench of the week, I'll give you that's the 1A stench of the week. How is the Giants only 4.5-point favorites against a 1-6-1 Houston team? That's stench 1A.
Off the bye.
New Orleans opened up 3-point favorites over a Pittsburgh team coming off a bye, and Tomlin's like 16-3 coming off byes as a home dog. That's another stench. Now the Bears are favored, -3 against the Lions. I mean, listen, the 3 weeks now, Justin Fields has finally arrived. They had the best loss of the year. Can they duplicate that? I doubt it. Okay. Here's another one. Miami only 3.5-point favorites against the Browns. That one stinks to high heaven. Now you got a Minnesota team 7-1 against a Josh Allen less most likely team. Only 3-point favorites. You talked about Denver and Tennessee. The line is now 2.5. There's another stench. You got Las Vegas only 4.5 against a Jeff Saturday, who's never coached a Pop Warner game, never mind high school, college. Now he's coaching in the NFL. An Arizona Rams game where you probably have Murray limping on one leg and Matt Stafford probably out in that game. We talked about Dallas, Green Bay, And Sam Fran, who you can't play, you can't play. They're favored for 7 for a reason. They're going to win by double digits. But if you take them, it's going to be Dan Fouts to Charlie Joyner late for a score to backdoor cover that one. And then, of course, Washington, Philly, that's 11. So the board's yours. Have fun with that one.
Yeah. I was doing a little I wanted to see how teams have been doing off bye weeks this year. And I didn't go back. I'm sticking to 2022. And I found it interesting. This year, home teams off a bye. So you've got 3 this week. You've got the 49ers, you got the Steelers, and you have the Giants. Home teams off a bye are 6-1 straight up. The only loss was the Rams at home against the 49ers, much to my happiness and Riley's. But they're 4-3 to the spread. So the point being is, I've got 6 games here I'm looking at. Cleveland's off a bye. Dallas is off a bye. Denver's off a bye. They're on the road. Okay? 49ers are playing the Chargers. 49ers are coming off a bye. They're getting healthier. We know how good they are. Okay? I'm not sold on the Chargers. I can't stand the coach. I don't think he's a good schemer. I don't think he's a good in-game coach. That line is 7. But the 49ers on a roll, they're not very good at home as a favorite. So that's a game I kind of lean Chargers. What's probably going to keep me off that one is, on a personal level too, is the Chargers are off a win. The Chargers were not have won last week. I would have liked the Chargers more. A lot of times I find that dogs back-to-back weeks, they cover, the next game they won't cover. They don't cover, the next game they cover. Again, the contrarian aspect of NFL handicapping. It sounds crazy, but over the years, it works. That's why Vegas has tall buildings, because everybody sees, nobody thinks the Giants can lose to the Texans. Jeff nailed it. That opened up at 6. I think that opened up at 5.5 or 6. The Texans couldn't. I mean, Jeff Dawson, if they put him right now at running back, he'd go for 100 against the Texans. So we know we've got Saquon. It's going to be Saquon. Why is that line only 4.5? Riley, remember last week I repeated it 9 times? Why are the Seahawks underdogs at Arizona? Jeff, please do me a favor, because you're my buddy. Are the Arizona Cardinals officially off the Dawson to playlist?
They cost us 3 parlays on Sunday. You know that.
Yeah, I know they are.
6-1, 5-1, and 7-1.
Great trivia for you guys, for the audience, for you, for us 3, I guess. Although I know the answer. A record could be broken in Germany on Sunday. Jeff Dawson is smiling. Do you know what that record is? And it's not the fact that Seattle's coming in 6-3. That game should be, to me, a pick-em. You've got a way better offense. You've got a Tampa offense. What have they scored, Riley? They're averaging 17 points a game in the last 5 or 6 games. I mean, they can't score. They sent Sean McVay a thank you early Christmas card last week. That was a gimme win. I mean, what the Rams, that was pathetic, allowing Tom to go 60 yards, I believe, in 42 seconds, Jeff and Riley. Sideline. I mean, that was comical, to quote Jeff Dawson. Tom Brady, on Sunday, if he throws 30 passes, and he will, because they can't run the ball, and doesn't have one INT, he will break Aaron Rodgers' record of 402 passes thrown without an INT. Keep an eye on that. That's a Mr. Lucky special for the week. Dawson's smiling. I mean, Dawson's got a better tan than I do. Holy mackerel. I mean, what in the world did you have a roast con frijoles over there? Did you enjoy the food?
I enjoyed the food. I enjoyed the trip. This bronze look was from Puerto Rico. I mean, I got a nice base. We had 3 days on the ship before we got to Coco Cay, and we spent the day on the beach on Coco Cay. Then we had another day on the ship, and we got to the Dominican Republic, which you'll be getting a fine couple gifts. Should be Tuesday, they're saying they're arriving. I mean, these are top of the line. Two of them. I mean, these are the creme de la creme. And I got a box of 10 of them, and you got two. Scotty Webb got a couple, and the rest are going to be for me. Riley, I didn't send you any cigars because I don't want to stunt your growth. You're still too young. So
Okay.
when we get to Vegas together, hopefully in March again, I'll have a couple nice ones
Yeah.
for you that we can have at Westgate. And Riley stole the show. He took the bulls by the horn, no pun intended, and he wrote,
He did.
"The show must go on," he said, and I couldn't have been happier.
The best
Uh,
guest host since Joey Bishop took over Carson in the 70s.
There you go.
Hey,
And
Jeff,
then
Riley. Sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
no, and then Saturday we got a tropical storm in St. Thomas, but we still went out there, got soaked, had lunch, did some shopping. It was me and the wife's wedding anniversary. And then Sunday we ported and docked in Puerto Rico. We stayed downtown at the Hilton, and it was the most beautiful hotel. And right out there was the pools, the beach, and to the left was the beach with the big waves and breaking. And I sat out in the sun for 6 hours while they went shopping and they did whatever. I watched the games on my phone, and I came back looking like Tom Selleck, and I couldn't be happier.
You look great, Jeff. Couple stats here for you guys. Home dogs this year, the games have gone 15 and 41 to the under. So if the home team's an underdog, 41 unders, Jeff. And Jeff, you know how many totals I played this year, right? That's why you're smiling. I played one total. I missed the boat this year. I've had a good year otherwise. Aaron Rodgers against the Dallas Cowboys, lifetime record, Riley Magnuson.
I don't know exactly. I know it's very good. That's why I told you that.
8-1.
Yeah.
8-1.
Yeah.
We can assume, not that we like to assume, but I'm going to assume Josh is out
Mm-hmm.
based on the fact that is that 3.5 as we speak, Jeff?
I see a 3 now.
Is that a 3? Jeff, I believe the Minnesota Vikings, all due respect, because I thought they had a shot to win the division. Boy, I really regret not putting a win total on them. Jeff, I think they're 7-1 on paper only. I think that is going to be, I don't want to say shocker of Sunday, but I would not be surprised if Case Keenum and Diggs not do a Minneapolis miracle. They do a Buffalo shellacking on Sunday. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's a 2-touchdown win by the Bills. I think they're due. And, the whole world's going to be on the Vikings. Oh, come on. Public's going to be on the Vikings. Josh Allen, Mr. Superman, MVP. And I think, you guys, that's a lot worse than they're letting on. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I love Josh Allen. Love to watch him play. But that one, I don't know, Jeff. I got a feeling we might have a circa play on the Bills this week. Other than that, I mean, I don't know. Cards and Rams. I mean, those two coaches are pathetic this year. Murray and Kingsbury, all they do is argue on the sideline. I mean, that was stealing money. Jeff, nothing is easy. There are no free lunches in handicapping the NFL. You know that. I know. That was easy. I thought that was stealing money the way the Seahawks are. Jeff, you and I know better. I am done with the Arizona Cardinals this year, but I like them this week because I think the Rams are done. I think the Rams are already setting up at Riviera Country Club tee times for January. I think they know it. I think McVay knows it. I think Cooper Kupp knows it. I know the fans know it. I've got a few other trends for you folks. So you want to use some of my trends, make some money. I'm not touching the Chiefs. Okay, they disappointed me last week. I think Kelsey's ticked off. I think they're double teaming, triple teaming him. He hasn't scored a touchdown in 3 games, Jeff. I mean, the Jags, I can't figure that team out. Now, if they play the Raiders, they'll win every week. I mean, the Jags, Jeff, the Jags metrics are very, if you believe in metrics, I look at metrics. There's a few I like. The Jags are better, Jeff, than a 3-win team. They really are. Now they're going to Arrowhead. They haven't won an Arrowhead since Hector was a pup. Chiefs have not covered a spread at home in their last 5, Jeff. So you know what that tells me? That's Kansas City or pass. I mean, I think Kansas City might put 40 on them today, on Sunday. How do you feel about that one, Jeff? Because I know the boys are going to want that one. Any thoughts?
I think it's a tough call in this regards. I think the number's fair, but I think the mindset is the Chiefs didn't score. Vrabel has their number. Vrabel knows how to play against them. A shorter week, an overtime game. Now in come the Jags. I mean, if coach for the Jaguars plays not to win, but to cover, meaning they win the turnover battle. ETN has caught his stride. They have some weapons to compete and move the ball in this game. It's if Lawrence is throwing the ball 35 and 40 times, he throws for 3 or 4 picks, this game's going to get ugly. So I think your eyes are in the right spot. But again, Mr. Lucky, as we say this, I mean, we're trying to bet on the come here. Wait till the Chiefs have covered a game until you go back to them, because they could be up by 13 and Lawrence gets a backdoor to Kirk for a late score. I like where your eyes are. I expect them to win by double digits, but in the same token, they haven't covered there in a while.
Yeah, you know who I kind of like this week, Jeff, and you mentioned it slightly, briefly you did. Jeff, the Dolphins. Jeff, I think the Dolphins are a good team. I think the Browns can go into South Florida and win. Now, again, I don't like the coach. He'll find a way, perhaps, to make me get very upset in 4 Eastern time, because he's got the best rushing attack probably in the league. I mean, Nick Chubb is a player. Hunt is a player. They have a backup quarterback. I get it. Jeff, the recipe is you run. I mean, hold the ball. We know Tua and Waddle and Hill are just off the charts this year. That number, I mean, what's the total on the over-under in that game? I think it's 48, 49. It's probably an over. I think the Browns go into Cleveland and upset them. Browns are 7-0 against the spread. Their last 7 as a road underdog of 3 to 10 points. 7-0 to the spread. Stefanski, he's 5-0 as a dog in the series, as an underdog. I don't know. What do you think, Jeff Riley? Should we consider that one in the circa? I'm seeing the Browns off a bye. Have they found their stride with our buddy Deshaun Watson coming back in 2 or 3 weeks? Can they make a run with Myles Garrett? They've got a pretty good personnel. I think the Browns are better than their record. Thoughts? Look at Jeff. See, when Jeff sits back and smiles like that, I'm not liking it. He's like one of the guys I follow who I respect. And I checked a couple of his articles last week, Riley, and it's kind of like Jeff. When Jeff gives me that grin and he's, I think, looking at the other side, I'm going to tell the boys, look, that guy wasn't born. That guy wasn't born yesterday, Jeff.
I've actually, the hardest part for me, the way we work here and the way I read the market is I like to be ahead of the curve. I was on the Browns all week.
Okay.
Unfortunately, the line keeps dipping. This is a Miami team that's now going to be back home. They score early and often. We know the Cleveland defense is not that good. The fact that Watson is coming back in a couple weeks, a couple more wins by the Browns, they're not officially out of it. I've done 2 shows now with Dave Sharapan, and both times I presented the same story to him, and he's just shaking his head. He's like, Jeff, it's the wrong number. It's the wrong number. You're on the wrong side. He says it's a Dolphins play all day. And I believe exactly what you just said. I'm on the Browns. I like the Browns. I think they can win, just like I think the Texans can win. I've been on that guy against Geno all year. I got egg on my face. I've been against the Giants all year. I got egg on my face. It's just the mentality of the NFL. And listen, I can talk it with the best of them on every sport. We talk about baseball, 162 games. The worst team in the MLB goes on 5 and 6 game winning streaks, and they also go on 5, 6, 7 game losing streaks. And we want to get in between and stop the madness instead of just letting it go. Let it go. We were just talking about the Chiefs a few minutes ago. They haven't covered at home in forever, but we think this is the week. Well, let them get one before we then get back in there and get it. But Riley, thoughts on Miami and Cleveland?
I'm throwing my hands up on that one. I could see it both ways. I don't know. I don't have a read on these teams. I've kind of stayed far away from these two. I mean, if you want to play the angle of another, Midwest team that's starting to get cold weather going down to Miami, I just tell you it's going to be 85 degrees. I don't know if it's going to be the same situation like Minnesota had where it's a 30-degree difference between the two sidelines. But if you've got a Cleveland team that's going to be running the ball 30 times, then that's going to wear on them as far as that type of weather. So I'm not touching it, but I could see what you guys are saying 100%. And, this Miami offense is rolling. I mean, if this was in Cleveland, I might be all over Cleveland's rushing attack to really take it to them. But I don't know. I'm throwing my hands up on this one. This is honestly one of my games that I'm staying furthest away from just because I don't have a read on these teams week in and week out right now.
Vikings are 0-4 as a road dog. Steelers, Jeff Dawson. That game smells to me, Jeff, off a bye.
Let me interject here. The Case Keenum, the revenge game, I see it because, again, like the NBA, what do? We and Riley were talking about this before you came on. A guy is scratched, therefore everyone runs to the window to play the other side. And what happens? You don't see those guys running back to cash those tickets, okay? That line's dropping, okay? And there was a video out there that Josh was out on the field, and he was out without anything on his arm. And as soon as they said, hey, what are you doing? And they got it on video, he runs off the field. Okay. Now the hanky-panky play was Herbert against Jacksonville. Is he playing or is he not playing? It went from 7 all the way down to 3. All of a sudden they caught wind. He was playing and went back to 6.5, and the Jaguars punched him in the face. I, like you, think the Minnesota 7-1 is flawed. I do. Maybe it's a little Kirk Cousin. I don't know. Okay. But I can't see the Bills losing 2 in a row. I can't. I'm sorry. I don't care if Jim Kelly came back to QB on Sunday. I'd still take the Bills. To me, it's the Bills or nothing there. I just believe in their defense. I believe in the home crowd there. I believe they'll find enough ways to win. Now, if you're looking long term and you got a Bills future, which how unlucky,
you do.
How unlucky am I, guys? Think about it.
I thought of you, Jeff. Yeah.
I go to the circuit in July. I put together this amazing Champions Parlay, paying $11,000 in July. In July, we're talking about the Dodgers, the Mets, the Yankees. No one's talking about the Astros. I get the Astros holding the trophy.
You and I did in July.
Holding the trophy last Saturday. And what happens? Alabama's going to lose their second game. On the same day, I don't even have an hour to celebrate.
I mean, Jeff, this is gambling, right? You were on the right side of all those tickets, 100%. Jeff, Alabama is 1 or 2 plays away, perhaps even a call or 2 away from being undefeated. I'm not gonna toot my horn. I have 15 circa losses. The leader has 11. Okay, I'm within striking distance. Okay, I'll buy you a couple of dinners, Jeff, when I collect. My point is, I have lost, and we can say this. Everybody can say this. I get it, but it's just to find how what a fine line this is. It really is. All the research we do, all the time Jeff puts in, all the time reality you put in. I have had the lead or one game I was tied. I've had the lead or the tie in 9 of those 15 losses in the fourth quarter. Not the first, not the second, the fourth quarter. That's the point. We've been backdoor twice. We've made one really bad play where it was over when the national anthem was being sung. But it's just but it's the fun of it. Listen, do I want to win and be in the top 100? Of course I do. I have pride. I feel like I know the NFL. I've made we've made 45 plays in circa. We're starting the 10th week. Personally, in my bank account, I have made 16 NFL plays. That's the difference between a contest where I don't want to say forced, but we're forced to play 5 games. So we dissect, we analyze. Thank you, Jeff. I agree with some of your points today. It's helpful because I probably will play 2 games on my own. To me, the Bills, I don't want to call it the shocker of the year in Minneapolis because we know the Minneapolis miracle was a miracle because that was against the Saints, was it not? Yeah, I think it was against the Saints. This has Bills written all over. Jeff Dawson will be texting me at 3, let me think here, at 4:17 p.m. his time. And he's going to have flames because he's going to hit a 3-team parlay for the people because we are here for the people. Lastly, because I know I can talk all day long, we have played 2 Monday night games this year in circa. 2. We're 1-1. The Philadelphia Eagles have the 3rd-rated defense in the league per DVOA, if you like DVOA. They have a top 4 offense in the league. Jalen Hurts might be the front runner for MVP. Jalen Hurts has won his last 6 home games. The Eagles are averaging 20 points in the first half. Guess how many they're averaging in the second half, year to date?
7.
Almost 8. Good call, Jeff. 8. So the point being is, if your Washington Commanders, who gave away a game last week, that was our push. We had the Commanders up 17-7 with the ball at the 40-yard line on 2nd and 11. Thank you very much, Heineken, whatever I want to call you. Phillies. Eagles are -11. They opened at 10. Washington smells to me. I think Washington gives them a game, gentlemen. I'm out. Not out, but that's my circa. That's my circa analysis for week 10. We're gonna go 5-0, baby. I feel it. I believe it. Because if you go to the window, you got to go with conviction, right? I mean, Scotty has said it. Hey, Scott, missed you. But I feel good about the week, Jeff. I think I am sold on a couple of your games because Jeff Dawson, for the people out there, this guy works his butt off. This guy doesn't put the pizza in the oven on a Friday night. This guy takes the wife out. He knows that he's not going to chase. Do not chase. Even everything I've told you. It's good information. I've been doing this 33 years, Jeff, as you know. I don't know jack crap, but I do know jack crap. because you know the ebbs and flows of these spreads. You know the Vikings are not going to go 15-1. It's as simple as that. They're not going to go 15-1. They're going to have 3 or 4 clunkers, right? That's how
I
I
think so.
see it. That's how I see it. You know, the one game this week that I know I'm going to go nuts on, I want to take the Bears, Riley. They're playing well. Fields is playing. But back to week 1 or 2 when we started this, as a professional NFL bettor that I believe I am, you got to look at the role of a team. You've got the Bears. Everybody likes the Bears now. They're a favorite. Look at the Atlanta Falcons. They were favored on Thursday night. It's not a role they're good at. To me, that was an easy game. Nothing is easy, but I felt like the Panthers were the right side. Coming off a complete disaster in Cincinnati, a revenge game in a way, because they lost to Atlanta in Atlanta a couple of weeks ago in a game they could have won and should have won. And now they're getting 3 points in the rain at home. I'm not laying and the thing is, right, I want to lay 3 with the Bears, but I know better. And that's the struggle of the contest, Jeff, as you know. It's picking those 5. It's finding the 5 that have value, that have reverse line movement, that you just go with your gut. I believe the Cardinals will beat the Rams. I believe the Raiders will win one for Josh. But my pocketbook and my brain says, no, don't do it. It's a stay away game. So you live with the results, right? The Browns to me, the Browns are the play. The Bills are the play. Those I want to have on the circle card. And if I lose both of them in the fourth quarter on Sunday, so be it. It's the process. This is fun, my friends. Dawson, real quick, when I see you in March, Riley, you got to come out in March. When I see you in March, Jeff, here's what we should do. We should cash our tickets with a big cigar in our mouth, take a photo, and say, for the people of ECSI. Jeff, you're the best. Riley, you're the best. Chicago's finest. I love doing this. Thank you for inviting me every week. I hope I'm helpful. I hope I hope Lucky sounds okay. Love the NFL. It's been a good year. Let's get them.
Best of luck, Mr. Lucky. We'll see you soon.
Lucky, before you go, I have,
Yeah.
like you said, you have to make 5 plays for Circa because it's the obligation. I only have 1 play so far right now. It is the Detroit Lions and the points in Chicago. Dan
There you
Campbell.
go.
Well, and no doubt the Bears' offense has been better. I'm not going to deny that. Their defense is horrendous, and maybe one of the without the 2 guys they unloaded, Robert Quinn and Roquan Smith. Their defense is horrendous. The Packers' defense played well last week against the Lions. Aside from maybe a couple drives, I think the Lions put up some points and at least covered. Dan Campbell 6-2 against the spread against the NFC North. With at least 2, I think 3. He might be 3-3 straight up. 2 wins against the Packers actually, and I know he beat the Vikings last year. So I'm on the Lions this week. That is so far my 1 play. The Bears faithful over here are beyond sold right now. So if you're thinking the Chicago market is flooding over the Bears to skew the line or skew the money splits, it's already happened. Everyone's all over the Bears.
Bless you.
At least in my neck of the woods. So I am all over the Detroit Lions this weekend.
I hope you cash. I cannot take a Lion team that has not won a road. All due respect.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I cannot take a Lions team that has never won on the road with Dan Campbell as their coach.
That's fair.
If I didn't go to the wedding, to quote the great Jeff Dawson, I'm not going to the funeral.
Enjoy yourself, Mr. Lucky. Behave.
Okay, you guys have a great weekend. Cash some tickets. Don't listen to Dawson. Do not leave the pizza in the oven. Okay. Bless you guys. Thank you, Jeff.
Take
Thank
care.
you, Riley.
Talk soon. The one and only Mr. Lucky at Follow Fade. You can follow him, obviously, at Follow Fade, Lucky's Lobby, and, of course, Lucky's Locks and Bagels. As we were speaking there, Chris Paul downgraded to out, so another load management. I watched the number go to 6.5 for 2 seconds, and then boom, back to 7. So Chris Paul was worth exactly 1/2 of a point to a point, but again, that number was already kind of set for him to be out. So with all that said, I'm going to turn it back over to you. 1, 2, 3, technically 4 games, but 3 games in the college NFL or college NFL. The college slate: East Carolina at Cincy, opened at 5.5 down to 4.5, getting some East Carolina money there. Colorado against USC, 34.5 to 34 is the consensus there. And then the later game, Fresno State at UNLV, a game that opened at 8 is now 9 or 9.5. Any love in anything over there?
This is college football is probably the one. I've got some action, college basketball, some action in NBA tonight. I don't have a strong sense on these college football games right now. You know, if you're trying to fade the public, maybe, you know, everyone's probably buying into Cincinnati. It doesn't appear to be that heavily. I only see 60% of the bets, 52% of the money, at least on this one book on Cincinnati. So, and I guess the other public side that it appears so far is the Fresno State side, but I don't have any strong thoughts on any of these games here. I've told you the American Conference is not my strong suit whatsoever. Mountain West I haven't had much action in or thoughts on, and then I'm not a fan of the old 34-point spread or either which way in the all Pac-12 game there. So if you've got something, please let me know because I've got nothing in college football tonight.
No, I'm laughing at this. Okay, I have a gentleman in Dallas that reaches out to me every week, and Monday or Tuesday asks he needs a play to go on a national show. On Tuesdays, I'm on a national radio show with Anthony Pepe with the Sports Map Radio, Die Hard Radio, and I just have to laugh at this. Okay, North Carolina is playing Wake Forest at noon. Now, everyone in the world knows. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's at 7:30 at night. Okay, I was going to the noontime games because it doesn't matter if I have Sunday's newspaper. I can't pick a noontime game whether it's a college basketball. College, it doesn't matter. This game's at 7:30. North Carolina's at Wake Forest. The under/over on that game opened at 76.5. Okay. So I talked to my buddy on Tuesday on the national show on Tuesday. I give out the over in this game. I'm telling you, there's probably going to be close to 100 points scored in this game. I says whoever has the ball last probably is going to win this game. It's Wake Forest is favored by 4 now. As we're sitting here talking, the consensus is 78.5. It is now 79.5 in some books out in the offshore.
I've had to take double takes at these North Carolina. After seeing them earlier in the season and then kind of not really paying attention to them for a while because the ACC is not very deep. I didn't realize they were 6-1 2 weeks ago, and you look at their schedule, it's like, okay, yeah, they're playing the tin cans, the dumpster fires of the ACC. I mean, this team hasn't. I mean, this team offensively has gotten, I guess, more consistent, but. Look back to what they did in September. I mean, 61 points allowed to App State, almost lost to Georgia State, and then, get the doors beat off them by Notre Dame, who now has looked like a top, 15 team or whatever. At the time, they were not. They had, I think, in Notre Dame after that game, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm totally wrong. I believe Notre Dame went on to lose to Marshall after that. I could be wrong. Maybe it was the weekend before that, and this was the get-right game. I don't know. But I am calling BS on North Carolina's record, and their defense is horrendous. Wake Forest coming off of 2 losses. Their offense is probably going to be looking to put up some points. So that is a grab some popcorn. You're going to be sad if there's only 30, 40 points scored and you bet the over, but I don't think that's happening. I'm with you. That's going to be – it was like 50s last year. Both teams in the 50s, I think, last year, right?
So my question, I don't know if you have it in front of you. I'm just looking at the numbers. Did they move Wake Forest's team total to like 41 and a hook, or is it higher than that? Or
I see on points bet it's down at 40. So if you're definitely you want to get in, that's at 40 there. But 41.5 seems to be the fairly consensus there.
Buy now, anyone watching? Buy now. You wake up tomorrow, the under over is probably 84.5. Who the hell knows? College hoops, Riley, take it away.
Let me pull up what I've got here. We gave some good thoughts earlier in the day and just seeing what the thoughts are now. You were kind of, and I kind of agreed with you, and it kind of got me into it. Still looks like a down to 3.5. Still interested a little bit, or thinking Stanford could be the right side there in the Big Ten, the old Wisconsin-Stanford game. Still thinking leaning Stanford there, or maybe flip.
As we speak, Pablo is out. I'm sorry, Pablo. Paulo Banchero is out for the Magic again tonight. I think that's the right side. Now, with the number keep moving, what happens is, we're probably Wisconsin wins by 4, right? I mean, isn't that how this one usually works?
Am I back? My internet cut out. Do you hear me now?
Yeah, I get you loud and clear. I says if we're following a line move like that, it's down to 3.5. Is this the one that Wisconsin wins by 4?
I don't know. I this was one where I was close to hitting the money line on a couple of little sprinkle, or maybe just an I got a couple buck freebie that I was going to use for a parlay, and I was close to hitting that money line. I was like, I could see Wisconsin winning on a fouling or a layup at the buzzer or something like. On Stanford here, but it's not the most confident play by any means. Sticking in the Big Ten, we didn't talk about this one, and maybe it's turned into a trendy dog. I'd like to see where the money splits are. What do you think about Michigan and Eastern Michigan? Earlier in the day, that one seemed like a line under 20 points seemed kind of fishy to me. I'm trying to see what the money splits are. I don't know, 75% of the bets on Michigan here on DraftKings, 60% of the money over on Emu, so big fat split. Is that am I crazy to think that's too good to be true for Michigan there? Number 22 in the nation.
Let me pull that one up. There's so many games that it's. Let me see here. Michigan. Come on. You got a rotation number for that one?
I do not. No, I do not, unfortunately.
Okay. Come on. I'm trying to. There it is right there. Playing it at Little Caesars Arena. It moved 4 points. I'm seeing 17.5. Is that right?
Yeah, it was 18.5 and then down to 17.5, at least today. I don't know what it was before that, but yeah, it just kind of screamed like a way too good to be true line, if you're asking me. A ranked team, and then I think Emu, it was a pretty low number on KenPom. I'm drawing a blank on what I saw, what their number or what their ranking is, but definitely not like a top 100 team or anything like that. Top 150, definitely not in that range. So I don't know. Smelled a little fishy to me there.
Well, if I told you that the actual number was 21 and a hook, that was the original number. Something is not jiving here. How about Michigan by 18? How's that sound?
No, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I think I actually caught the 18.5, if I'm not mistaken. So hopefully I'm
rooting for Emu.
Yeah, I took a little swing on Emu, just testing to see if that was an interesting, too good to be true line. Next one I wanted your thoughts on before I jumped in. Either way, BU, Boston University, and UConn. I had a lot of success last year with BU. Now 19.5 against UConn. Is that one too good to be true, or is that one fair?
I did some research on UConn the other day, and obviously Sonogo, potential Big East player of the year, a monster. Yeah. They have a few players coming back that I expect big moves on. But I was looking at their starting lineup, and he's just brought in, again, more of the same 6'3", 6'4", 6'5 guys. I don't know enough about them. I know they don't have that pure scorer. I know how he usually plays these games, and there's usually just grab ass, and they just wear you down. I'll say on record here, I lean BU. I would take the points.
I did it. My hesitation was kind of with our conversation that we had with, and if this was, the trendy dog, no pun intended with the Terriers, but down to like 15 by game time or something, then I would be nervous. It's a trendy dog. Like I said, like we were talking about with Vermont, I think last year Boston U wasn't, crazy successful. I found a lot of spots. So for me, that was kind of just one of my personal teams, mid-major teams, underdogs, whatever, or even favorites in their conference. So that was one that I was interested in. So I took a small little swing, or I'm taking a small little swing with BU there. I mean, the other one, the number one team in the country under a 20-point spread, UNC against College of Charleston. I mean, is this one turning into a trendy dog, or am I crazy to think that that one's at least worth, got to be the number one team in the country up against who the hell is this team in College of Charleston here?
I look at this and again an actual number of 22 that's down to 19 or 19 and a half. This UNC team is loaded. It's a real good team. I don't understand why these numbers are where they are. I'm going to try to pull up something here for you right now. 656. Let's go there. 23 and a hook down to a 19 corrected, a 153 to a 163. I'll go this. I'll take the over 163 there. But I think that the number on the correct, these two are going to go back and forth. They're going to go back and forth. Neither one of them wants to play defense. I like the over 163 here.
I can definitely agree with you there. This one, it was just, I mean, people on that Fade the Public Friday, the number one team in the country. A lot of these teams that have handled business have been 20, 30-point spreads. So it was at least something that I kind of stopped my radar. So I at least had to take a small little swing on it there.
And I don't know if you can pull it up. I will guarantee you this, that if you can pull it up, UNC's team total's got to be around 91 and a hook, maybe even 92.
91 and a hook, spot on.
Yeah, they got a good chance of scoring 100 tonight.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see. What were the other ones that I was interested in, or at least interested in talking about? There was one more. Oh, the last one. This one is more of a personal kind of a. Honestly, I kind of stand by it. It was what I was talking about with Mississippi Valley State. This is if you're having if you're out late tonight and you get home at midnight and you're shoot, I missed all the sports action. On the island, the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors hosting the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devils. Bottom 5 per Ken Pom. I think they could get back. 2 years ago, they were the unanimous worst team, 368, whatever it is, in college basketball. Last year, a little bit improved. I think they lost their top 3 or 4 scorers. Were 45-point dogs to Baylor the other day, lost by 60. It's 26.5 today, Jeff. I'm taking Hawaii on the spread today. That's more of a DGen play for sure. But they are very bad. I told 2 years ago, didn't matter the spread. It was against these SWAC teams that are also bottom 100 in the country per Ken Pom, and these other bad SWAC teams were beating them by 30 plus. This Hawaii team, I don't know much about them yet. I just going off of Ken Pom rankings, pretty fairly well rated. And so if I'm playing apples to oranges like that or trying to deduct and compare, Hawaii could win by 40 tonight. So it's, again, if I'm doing some babysitting tonight, so it's not like I'm out in the town, but I'll be getting home. Sad that I missed a lot of this good action and maybe staying up a little late, and I'm playing the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors on the spread there late tonight. I think 12 your time, 11 my time here.
I'm going to dig deep. And again, we're 4-1 on released plays in college. Never mind the winners that we've been giving out here on the shows. I'm going to go down deep to a game that I don't think anyone will have on the radar. And oh my God, come on. If I see these props anymore, I'm going to call this guy's like, dude, you don't need this many props on your site here. Hold on 1 second. I want to make sure that it hasn't moved. I was just going to bring up the rotation number. Where is it? Come on. Bear with me. 306521. All right. It's a 7 o'clock start. Bryant is at Dartmouth. Okay.
Okay.
And it was a game that opened at 1, and it is 6. You can get it at 5.5. So anyone watching and listening, it's rotation number 306521. Bryant minus 5.5 tonight against Dartmouth. We
Okay.
were spot on St. Mary's. We were spot on to going against Gulf Coast. And I think this is the play tonight. Bryant minus 5.5 for your Friday action.
Okay. I've got two more, and then we can get out of here too. At least, not that I'm playing. Just curious what your thoughts would be. Kind of just seeing these live time. We just talked about the Baylor team. Just beat a team by about 60. Now they're playing Norfolk State, who's less of a no-name team, but at least still a mid-major team. 27-point favorite. Is that people are going to see that Baylor? The big bad Baylor just beat a team by 60. Now you're only giving us 27. Is that maybe a good time to look at Norfolk State there?
Yeah, it's a number that actually under over a 144. The real opening number and a 24, and they knew what would happen, and the public's just running with it. You can grab Norfolk State plus 27.5 right now. That is the side that I would lean. Now, listen, if Baylor wins by 40 or 50 again, I'm not saying they won't. I'm just telling everyone here that Norfolk State is the right side. Baylor might pull a Kansas, be up 29 at halftime, and win the game by 23 or something.
Yeah. No, they certainly. I don't think it's going to be oh my gosh, Baylor's only winning by 5 points. I don't think it's going to be like that. You also have. I didn't realize they did play. I assume this is first round of the tournament last year. 85-49, so got them by 36. Even more, and people are going to look at that and they will, see the 36 and feel comfortable. So I'm not. I don't think I'm going to play it because again, it wouldn't surprise me if Baylor smoked them by 40 still. But yeah, I agree with you. That's the other one. I again not playing it, but at least was curious what if you had a story on it. Villanova 5.5-point favorite over on the road, or I guess I don't know if it's neutral or it's in Philly, so it's technically not on the road so much. But 5.5 for a ranked team at Temple. Is there anything to see there?
This is a real hard game. I was listening to Matt and Dave today on the BVB. Matt was on Villanova. I'm going to have a tough time reading this team. Obviously, no Jay Wright. We know what type of brand. We know what to expect against a Temple team that just, I go back to the Don Chaney days when they had a wagon for a while. They were fun to watch against Calipari and UMass. That's an intriguing number. I'd be more comfortable with a Nova minus 7 or 8. I almost, if you put a gun to my head, Riley, I would take the points today. I'd take the points with Temple.
Okay, it was just at least quite jarring to see a ranked team obviously against a team that I maybe they're good this year. I honestly haven't looked into Temple at all, but yeah, I imagine the average person is going to think that Villanova is going to roll over that one, but I guess I don't know. So I was at least something I was curious about to ask you, but I don't know if I've got anything else. I laid down all the ones that I was at least interested in talking about. I'm sure there's 2 or 3 other ones that are worth watching, but I don't know. Anything else to mention here?
I'm looking right now.
We obviously Michigan State Gonzaga talked this morning about that game, so we don't have to go too deep into that one. But I'm staying away from that one for sure.
Here's one that I'll talk about because it's our one loss this year. We had Vanderbilt at home against Memphis, getting 3, and they was cold as ice. They started the game 4 for 22, never in it. I think they cut it to 8 at one point, but they were never in it. Just keep an eye on Vanderbilt tonight. Of course, he just moves the screen on me now. God damn it. They opened up 19.5. That was the overnight number. It's down to 16.5 or 17. They're playing Southern Miss. And keep an eye on Vandy. They cannot play any worse. And listen, it's not an 8 or a 9. Let me just get to it right now. Make sure I was seeing the right thing. Unless that was for Saturday. Was that Saturday that they were showing me?
For that Vandy game? No, I see it tonight. Against
okay.
Yeah, it's tonight.
Okay, yeah. So it's rotation number 650, Vanderbilt, 7 o'clock start. The actual true opening number was 19 and a half. There are 16 and a halfs out there. Maybe if you wait a little longer, you can get 16. I expect a bounce back for them. That number opened at 19 and a half for a reason. I think the public saw what happened against Memphis, and they're all in on Southern Miss. So Vanderbilt minus 16. You can get 16 right now at South Point. So there it is. Vanderbilt minus 16.
I like it. Yeah, that's a good, interesting one. What? Another interesting game, at least. Bama 9.5, 9.5 against Liberty, who I think was pretty solid last year, if I'm not mistaken, right? So I don't have much thought. I could see that one being a good game, though. At least fun to watch there.
Yeah, the Bama, I mean, they couldn't miss. I mean, 2 years ago they were the team, and last year I don't think they were as good as advertised. They just went on tough cold spells, live by the three, die by the three. It will be interesting because in a couple games they'll be facing Michigan State that we talked about, obviously. So that number I think is pretty spot on. If they're hitting the three, they win by double digits. If they're not, that's that 3-5-7 game. And thanks for playing. So I'm going to ask you here, closing thought, gun to head. Zags minus 11.5 tonight. You have to make a play. I'm handing you $100. Who you taking?
I'm probably laying it with the Zags. And leaning on. I'm not playing it, but leaning on the Michigan State kind of slow out of the gates in these November, December stretches, and then I believe it. I maybe to a fault believe in it so much that I'm playing them so often in January, February, March, whatever it is. But I mean, we laid it out. I think the last 20 cases of them being a dog in November, they're 6-14 straight up, 9-11 against the number. So obviously closer against the number, but. I'd lean towards the Zags tonight and laying the points there.
All right. So we had a great morning with the Big Ten review, football and basketball. Come back at 4 o'clock, obviously, with Mr. Lucky. We've covered all the bases, no pun intended. For yourself, Saturday off. I'll reach back to you Saturday afternoon, early evening. We'll plan a Sunday morning show. We'll talk some NFL, short, quick, to the point. And so we can make sure you're enjoying the rest of the day. How's that sound?
Sounds perfect to me, my friend. I will be there.
All right. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one and only Riley Magnuson at Riley_Magnuson, the one. We wish everyone a blessed evening. Yes, the weekend's here. Guys, it's payday. It's fade the public. It's pump the brakes. Pay the bills first. You got a little extra flash cash. Do some dabbling. Huge slate today. Huge slate tomorrow. And yes, 12:30 tomorrow. The one and only Zaid Hussein. We'll be talking UFC 281. Do you have a quick anyone you're looking at tomorrow in the UFC?
I'd be lying if I know I'll probably have some entertainment for it, stuff for it, but with so much, it's not my specialty. So it's, with college basketball starting up, NBA, 3 or 4, 4 different leagues that I cover. I've been relying on some other ones, and then honestly. I'd be lying if I even told you that I looked at some odds. So I liked Dustin Poirier over Michael Chandler, but I didn't realize he was minus 230 favorite. So that's obviously where that one is. So no, I can't help you out too much there yet.
Shout out to Kevin Rivas, who just jumped in as we are closing. It's been an hour and almost 40 minutes of nonstop action. We can't thank you guys enough. Without you, there is no ECSI, and we only got 6 weeks left in 2022. We're getting ready to roll for 2023. Mass is getting ready to launch. So any locals that are in the building on Cape Cod in Massachusetts, 1480 Falmouth Road, Route 28, Centerville, come say hi into the studio. We have a seating lounge with 2 big screens. Come watch any game that you want, and we can talk shop. So from myself again, Jeff Dawson, Riley, we wish everyone a good night. Behave, and we'll see you soon.